It began in 1933, and now the IHSA Boys Swimming and Diving Championships carry on a great tradition. Today, for the 60th time, the top male high school swimmers and divers in the state of Illinois will display their considerable talents. For the swimmers, covering the distance in the fastest time is the object. For the divers, absolute precision and grace of execution form the keys to accomplishment. For both, the ultimate goal is that of a state championship. And for one school, and one school only, a team championship is the reward symbolizing the depth of excellence. But one word of advice for the coach whose team wins it all. Bring some extra dry clothes, because in swimming and diving, when you're number one, you're all wet. And here at New Trier High School, dry clothes will be the order of the day for one head coach. It's happened many times here before. This is the site of many of the state championships that the IHSA has held. Hello, everybody. I'm Bill Hazen, joined by Bruce Woodbury. And Bruce, here coming in today, why don't you give us a thumbnail sketch, first of all, of the action and the categories that we're going to be seeing competition here at the IHSA level today.
Well, we're going to be seeing 3 relays and 7 individual events today in swimming and 1 in diving. And I expect it to be a very competitive meet today.
I'm amazed with the constant depth of swimming talent, and when you talk about depth, that's when you can get in a position to win a state title. Who has it? Who has a shot at the crown?
Well, Fenwick is the defending championships, and I think defending champion. I think we have to give them the edge right now. But Hinsdale Central swam very well last night, really out of their minds, and I look for a strong challenge today from Hinsdale Central.
There's an awful lot of emotion that goes into the sport of swimming, and some extra emotion, we think, in the sense that we will have one event coming back after a long absence, and we've already had a state record in that event.
Yeah, that's right. 26 years ago, they eliminated the 200 freestyle relay. They brought it back this year, and it's going to be part of the program and the format from now on. And it's going to be very exciting. We had 2 teams last night tie for that new record, and it's going to be a good race today.
It swam to a dead heat. Incredible, all to the same 100th of a second, and that tells you the type of action that we're going to have coming up. So stay tuned. As promised, the 200-yard medley relay will get us going, and you'll be looking at some outstanding high school swimmers in this event as we get the 1991 IHSA state finals underway. This features the back, the breast, the butterfly, and the freestyle, the 4 strokes, with each swimmer taking one of them. Get a look at the crowd. It is a standing room only crowd here today, and we'll take a look at the teams now. We're using lanes 2 through 7. 1 and 8, the end lanes are not in use here today. So the open lanes are on the side, so we'll be looking at 6 finalists. In lane number 2, Palatine High School and their group. In lane 3, Barrington High School, the defending state champions, who did a very nice job here a year ago. Naperville North, the top seed, is in lane 4. Hinsdale Central, the 2nd seed, in lane 5. Naperville Central in lane 6. And Oak Park Fenwick in lane 7. There's a look at Naperville Central. We'll take a look from the end zone as we get ready here.
Mr. Starter, take your mark.
Good explosive start.
Hinsdale wants to get off to a good start in this. In the backstroke leg, Tom Schmidt said.
And indeed, it appears as if they have their swimmer lined up a little bit of a different start, as he just seemed to explode out of the gate here.
Naperville in lane 4 has an outstanding backstroker.
So we'll keep an eye for that as the breaststrokers hit the water here.
And Naperville's off to a faster start than they were last night. They must really want this race.
And they clocked a 1:37.13 overall last night to earn the top seed. So they are performing quite well. The team of Mark Bontrager, a senior. It's an all-senior team with the exception of Greg Wolniak. He is the only junior on the Naperville North High School team. And now here we're looking at that butterfly.
What a difficult stroke to do, but boy, these guys sure know how to do it. They're so strong.
Well, as you pointed out on previous telecasts, if you have somebody who's strong in the butterfly, you can really make up time in a hurry, because it is a very, very tough stroke. And now they'll turn on the jets here, and the first hitting it is Naperville North, so they have the edge. Can Barrington catch them in lane 3? You're looking at the lead group right there, Naperville North.
Hinsdale has that good freestyler at the end, and he's coming on pretty strong too in lane 5, but not enough to overtake him.
Naperville North holds him off and wins it, and 136.80. So a state championship. Naperville North wins it. Finishing second was Barrington High School, the defending champions, at 137.52. Very nice job by the defending state champs. So Naperville North wins it, and here's the story on how it happened. This is a pool record, I understand, also, Bruce.
Wow. That's pretty incredible. And they really got off to a good start on the backstroke. But here comes the freestyle leg, and it's hard to tell because they're making so much splash there, but their heads are high, and they do a good job on the finish. Notice that they don't take a breath that last few strokes, and they really finish hard. What a great shot there. Finishes straight arm, nice strong finish.
Finishes, hits the wall. Naperville North has itself a state championship, and so let's now bask in the light of the award ceremonies here.
Championship heat in 6th place with a time of 139.15, Naperville Central.
Naperville running out of the 6th lane. Dr. William Schreiner, the principal of Glenbrook South High School in Glenview, is presiding. He is a member of the IHSA Boys Swimming Advisory Committee. There is Naperville Central. Boy, they were running in the fast lane, weren't they?
In 5th place with a time of 138.72, Fenwick.
Fenwick moved up a slot, as you were mentioning, Bruce.
Yeah, I think that's going to help Fenwick a lot here, and it give them a little psychological edge too, because Hinsdale dropped down and Fenwick moved up.
So Park Fenwick picks up a little more than perhaps they may have anticipated getting, and running from lane 7, an outside lane. They managed to pull up a spot. Pretty nice performance for that young team. That's the youngest team in the finals. Oak Park Fenwick, only one senior.
In 4th place with a time of 137.73, Hinsdale Central.
That was the 2nd seed, and they ran so beautifully in the prelims. But here, and they had a good lane, lane 5. They were not able to match the same level of performance. They're about a half a second behind what they did in the preliminaries.
Yeah, and it was, I think they were expecting a little bit better performance out of those kids than they did today in the finals, but they swam so well last night. They really proved a lot to everybody last night that they belonged in this meet, and they were going to give Fenwick a run for their money.
And intend to do just that. Tell you, perhaps one of the better performances is right here, Palatine High School. Running from an outside lane, they improved their time over almost 1 full second from their preliminary time.
Yeah, 3rd place assures them an all-state position, and their time is going to give them a consideration for All-American as well. Palatine did a great job.
So Palatine, the Pirates, able to collect their trophies. Time of 137.52, Barrington.
Ironically, they were 6/100ths of a second faster this year than last year when they won the state championship, but you have to be awfully good to win in this pool. Certainly, even though they improved, they were not good enough to defend their state crown.
Yeah, not quite the same swimmers. They lost a couple of swimmers from last year's group, and this year they again have 3 seniors. So they're going to have a hard time next year, I think.
Naperville North with a time of 136.80.
That shatters the pool record and is within 1 second of the state record held by Hinsdale South. That's the team: Mark Bontrager, Jason Bambalis, Greg Wolniak, and Scott Ramsbottom. A 136.80. Very, very impressive, beating their preliminary time by about 0.3 of a second. They really saved their best for when it counted. So Naperville North has a state title.
Yeah, they did a great job, and George Klum always has his kids ready at the end of the season, and they were ready today.
Some of the fastest swimmers in the state of Illinois, and they'll be gunning for a state title. This is a senior-dominated field with junior Doug Fulling, who will introduce to you in just a moment, being the only underclassman who is participating. A year ago, we saw Dan Stoppenhagen of Peoria Richwoods win this event. In lane number 2, Aaron Baer from Rock Island High School. James Mulligan in lane 3, a up-and-coming swimmer, senior from Lake Forest High School. In lane 4, Ed Pierce. He is the top seed from Oak Park Fenwick. In lane 5, Greg Maurer, a senior from Wilmette Loyola Academy. In lane 6, Steve Fetigo, a senior from Downers Grove South High School. And then Doug Fulling, the only junior in the field from Rantoul. And so we're set to go here. The state record is held by one of the Maurer family, Eric Maurer from Loyola. He did it in the finals in 1989.
This should be a great race between Greg Maurer and Ed Pierce. Ed was in lane 4, was 4th last year, and Greg was 3rd last year. So it should be a pretty exciting race.
So we're getting here quiet here. The crowd quiets down.
Mr. Starter, take your mark.
Good clean start. It looked like Fedeco got a tremendous explosion into the water to get a good solid jump in lane 6. And indeed, he's the first man off of the board. Steve Fedeco, the senior from Downers Grove South High School, who clocked a 142.97 in the prelims. And right now, he has cast the gauntlet. He is the man to beat.
Yeah, he wanted to get out to a nice, firm and controlled 50 the first 50 yards, and it looks like he's done that. Now he's got to hold on to it, though.
Getting a challenge, James Mulligan in lane 3 starting to come on.
What a meet Jim's had last night. He just swam out of his mind. He was great.
Boy, they're so tight, it's hard to split them. There are four lanes. Mulligan, Pierce, Maurer, and Fedeco are all together. You can hardly split them.
Two of them are tied at the first 100, 49.02, 49.02. What a race.
That's Mulligan and Pierce, and the others are within 0.4 of a second of that. That's how tight it is. Mulligan in lane 3, Pierce in lane 4. And now Pierce is starting to gain a little breathing distance, if you can. Boy, they're still tight. But Pierce hits the wall first.
Yeah, Ed's got a great shot at it now. Came off the wall nice and strong, and he's getting stronger, I think, and Jim looks like he's tiring a little bit.
Pierce makes a great turn, doesn't he, Bruce?
Yeah, great turn.
Very good job, and he's starting to put the power on.
Here comes Greg Maurer.
Pierce. Maurer trying to chase him, but Pierce is there and has won the state crown at 141.50.
Wow.
Pierce kind of laid back in the woods there, Bruce. He was not out of the gate the quickest, but he was there at the finish.
Yeah, I think he was really under control, and I think he had a lot of confidence in the way he was going to be able to finish that race. He is so strong, and you can just see the way he buries his head at the end. What a finish.
He took nearly 1 second off of his preliminary time. What a performance when it counts. And we'll see what made that performance so special here, Bruce.
Here he is finishing now, and you can see how he just puts his head down and really strong. I've never seen such a strong swimmer. He almost puts his head down too far as he starts to pull through. That weight program he's on 3 days a week is really paying off here. What a finish. What a great haircut.
Dr. Diana Lindsay, the principal at New Trier High School, will be handing out the awards here. The host for the IHSA Boys State Final Swimming and Diving Meet. Let's go down for the awards.
With a time of 1:43.42, Doug Fulling of Rantoul.
Doug was funny. He said he wanted to keep up with the big boys, and he really did today. He's only been swimming competitively for 4 years, and he's going to be the only one returning from this year to next year's state meet.
Here's Steve Fedeco, the senior from Downers Grove South. Well, he's been swimming very well throughout this competition in several events
All the swimmers from Downers Grove have.
With a time of 1:42.84, Aaron Bear of Rock Island.
He beat his preliminary time, did a nice job, Bruce, and swimming from lane 2 also.
That's right, and he wants to study pre-med, and he's really got a great attitude.
In third place,
one of the things he works on all the time.
1:42.53 from Lake Forest High School, James Mulligan.
I know you like this young man a great deal. You see a lot of potential in this one.
He's a terrific swimmer. And lots of heart. He also plays football and has a lot of little things he does before the meet.
Nice hand for Greg Maurer here from Loyola Academy. Finishes second, a blistering pace. He actually bettered his time by about half a second.
Yeah, I think a lot of the people in the stands understand that Greg's been sick. He had bronchitis and is just getting back to being healthy again. Missed a lot of training this year.
Ed Pierce, the senior, he is the state champion, and that fits right into Fenwick's game plan. I'll guarantee you he was the top seed, and he improved his time by almost 3/4 of a second.
Yeah, he did a fabulous job.
This is a sport that certainly tests all of the skills, everything in the arsenal. A 200-yard individual medley featuring the butterfly, the backstroke, the breaststroke, and the freestyle in that order. Here are the lanes now for you, and the competitors. Lane 2, Ben Gertis, a junior from University High School in Normal. Lane 3, Darren Hedenek, a senior from Stevenson High School in Prairie View. Lane 4, Brian Pendergast, the defending champion. He did it as a freshman, now he's a sophomore from Fenwick. Lane 5, Tim Dragas, his teammate from Fenwick. They're the top 2 guns. Lane 6, Brian Wells, a senior from Aurora West High School. And lane 7, Greg Wolniak, a good all-around swimmer. He's just a junior from Naperville North High School. And Bruce, this race could boil down to who is the best of the Fenwick swimmers. 2 guys, Dragas and Pendergast, who compete against each other every day in practice.
That's right, but we've got Darren Hedenek, who was second last year in the meet, and he's going to be giving them a run for their money too. He's from Stevenson, and I don't think he's going to concede the race to anybody.
We'll keep a close eye on him. Hedenek will be running out of lane 3. Keep a close eye on him. But Pendergast, the defending champ, posted the best time, 1:55.10 in the preliminaries. Hedenek is about 0.8 of a second behind him. Dragas about 0.6 of a second. So that's what we're looking at in the front 3.
This is the kind of race that the lead can change based on a number of times throughout the race, based on where the swimmer is the strongest. So it's kind of fun to watch.
Good clean start here. The butterfly will be first. Looks to Brian Wells of Aurora West High School.
Yeah, Brian had a great meet in the backstroke last night. He leads the backstroke qualifiers today. But Darren wanted to get out fast in the butterfly, and look at him fly.
Yeah, doing a very nice job there in lane 3. Darren Hedenek from Stevenson High School. They switch strokes now to the backstroke. And Hedenek holds the lead, and Pendergast right now is almost a full body length behind.
Brian's a breaststroker, so we'll see him in the breaststroke catch up a little bit. But the person to watch here is Tim Dragas. He's really doing well. He's picked up almost full body length, and they're going to come in on touch almost evenly.
Now can they hang on as Pendergast gets to his strength? Remember, Pendergast is just a sophomore. We only have 3 seniors running in this race today.
And look at how competitive it is. Brian is in the middle of those 3 there, and he's made almost caught up the whole way.
Hedenek still hanging on, barely, Bruce.
Yep, he wanted to go out hard, and he's a senior, and he's not going to leave any of his race in the pool today.
I think it's going to boil down to now who has that best freestyle. Most of that lead has been cut by Pendergast, and now it's the sprint to the finish.
0.2 of a second separate the 2.
Hedenek and Pendergast with Dragas right now in 3rd, and that's the way it looks.
It's going to be an exciting finish. Brian is hanging on. Darren is hanging on too. It's really exciting.
Hedenek looks like he's going to get it.
Wow, what an exciting race. 1:54.14. He was second last year. He beat the defending champion this year. What a race he did today. He wanted to go out hard in the fly. His goal was to be leading after the butterfly. He really did it. What a job.
Darren Haydenning, your state champion, with a 1:54.14. Look at the fans. You're able to see that. And he really fought off a great challenge from both Pendergast and Dragas, who, as we know, are both outstanding swimmers. Two of the best in the state.
All 6 of them are outstanding swimmers. They wouldn't be here if they weren't.
Yeah.
But boy, we saw one heck of a race today, and it was just fabulous.
So, hey, Danik, we had kind of said, I said initially that Dragas and Pendergast, based on their times, were the guys to beat, but this guy had other ideas. Let's see, indeed, how he did it here, Bruce.
And here's the finish, and this is one of the keys to the race here. Brian is looking at Darren as he's finishing it because of the way he's breathing, so he can see him. As you see, Darren isn't. He can't see where Brian is. All he can do is put his head down. That might be to his advantage. What a finish. What a race. Well, I'm glad I was here to see that one.
It was outstanding indeed, and now they're going to hand out the awards. Our presenter is Mr. James Freeze, the principal of Downers Grove North High School, who serves as the IHSA chairman of the Legislative Commission of the Illinois High School Association.
With a time of 1:58.31, Greg Wolniak of Naperville North.
And he'll be back for another shot at it. Ran an almost identical race to the one that he ran, which got him into the finals.
Yeah, he did a nice job. He's a junior though, and he'll be back. His goal was to get his best time, and he was darn close to it.
So Greg Wolniak, first out on the stand here, finishing in 6th. And he is one, like many of these swimmers, he excels in several things, and especially to do the 200-yard individual medley, you have to be an outstanding all-around swimmer. You can't have any real weakness in your game.
No, it's a hard sport to train for too. It's a hard stroke and race to train for because you don't know what stroke to concentrate on.
In 5th place, with a
Here
time
is
of 1:57.61, Brian Wells of Aurora West.
Brian Wells was about a second behind his preliminary time. As he comes up, his preliminary been 1:56.68.
In 4th place, with a time of
Brian surprised a lot of people, I think, last night in his backstroke. Everybody except he and his coach, Dick Anderson. He did a great job. He's the leading qualifier in the backstroke, and we'll see him again later today.
Ben Gertis took about a half a second off of his time here in the finals. He saved his best for when it counted. He is a junior. He'll be back. University High School in Normal, Illinois.
In 3rd place, with a time of 1:55.12, Tim Dragas of Fenwick.
One of the finest swimmers in the state. Outstanding all-around performance.
He's had 2 good state meets in a row, and this is his 3rd year at the state meet, but he's placed and done well the last 2. Fabulous.
1:54.52, Brian Pendergast of Fenwick.
He bettered his time by almost half a second from the prelims, but it still wasn't enough. As a matter of fact, the time that he won with last year also would not have won today.
Yeah, I think Brian's a little disappointed, I bet, but Brian knows that he'll be back again next year and the year after that.
Darren Haydenning, just put this into perspective. He cut almost 2 full seconds off of his preliminary time. He reached back for everything, and boy, he delivered with the performance of his life right there. The state champion, the senior from Stevenson High School. It's the quickest of the quick. This is the time when you don't want to go to the refrigerator. You'll miss the whole thing. The 50-yard freestyle. And we will see some outstanding swimmers here. In lane number 2, Mark Mitelski. He is a junior from Loyola Academy, is an all-state linebacker in football. There's a look at Mark. Bob Barber in lane number 3, a junior from Hinsdale Central High School. In lane 4, Derek Ammerman, the defending state champion and a very emotional swimmer. and we'll see him in action from Peoria High School. Lane 5, Mark Bontrager, a senior, the second seed from Naperville North High School. In lane 6, Matt Vidantonio. He is a senior from Friend High School in Palatine and clocked a nice time in the prelims. And lane 7, Eric Dore, a junior from Hinsdale Central High School.
There's no room for mistakes here. This is a race that takes a perfect start, being able to move your arms quickly through the water, being strong, getting fast off the wall, and then it's a finish.
So it is picture-perfect execution across the board. Any mistake hurts you big time. You pay for it big time in a short race like this.
Derek is our defending champion in lane 4.
We'll keep an eye on him. Good, clean start.
Wow, Derek was out really well.
We'll see as they hit the wall who has the advantage. It looks indeed like Derek Ammerman in lane 4 by a foul.
It's kind of hard to tell, but it does look like Derek is ahead.
Ammerman with perhaps Mark Bontrager in second, or Barber right there on the sides. I think Barber edged him out for second. Ammerman wins it. He defends his state crown in a blistering 21.08. Matches almost to the 100th of a second his performance of a year ago. Although I gather that last year he's a little bit more mature in his celebration. Last year, you remember, he went totally nuts.
Yeah, he was excited last year. He was excited this year too.
But you know it feels good to win that state crown, doesn't it?
He does. He did look like he had a great race here, and I think we'll get to see it on the replay. He had a great start, and I think that was the key to his victory. He kind of rocks back a little bit, if you can see him there in the middle, and it's the first one off. And there he is right there. Look at how he moves his arms. I didn't see him take a breath, but he's moving his arms so fast and there's such a wake, it's hard to tell whether he takes a breath or not. Don't need a breath for 21 seconds. But there he's moving his arms. Look at that leg kick. Powerful kick. He is so strong. His kick is so strong. And he almost looks like he's pulling away from the rest of the field. The clear victor.
Yeah, he just turned on the power, and that last 25 yards just had too much.
There's a happy swimmer.
And indeed, let's see them get their awards. Dave Bush, who is the head boys swimming coach at United Township High School, will be the presenter. Serves the IHSA as the member of the IHSA Boys Swimming Advisory Committee.
21.78, Matt Vidantonio of Prem.
Just getting this far means a lot, no matter where you finish. As you've emphasized, this is a fine swimmer right here, a senior, finishes out a great career.
In 5th place.
Well, Matt was 28th last year. It's a lot better standing on the block there than being in the locker room when they're announcing the award presentation.
Excuse me, that was Mark Patelski who finished 5th. Did a nice job. Linebacker, upstate linebacker in football. Now Eric Dore, who finished 4th with that 21.53 time. He and Mitelski were just within hundredths of seconds.
Yeah, and he moved up a bit, and he'll be back again next year, too.
Bob
Barber, as a junior, he'll be back. Hinsdale Central High School ran an excellent race today. Cut about 1/10 of a second off of his preliminary time.
In 2nd
He's the key to the relays, too, later in the day. We'll see him again.
Mark Bontrager of Naperville North.
What a fine swimmer, this young man. The second seed. He certainly performed like it.
What a great attitude he has, too. His goal is not, like many of the kids, is to win. His goal is based on time. And if you get the time, then the winning will take care of itself. He's got a great attitude. Well coached.
Your freestyle champion with a time of 21.08 from Peoria High School, Derek Ammerman.
He swam a picture-perfect race, and indeed he had the power in the last 25 yards to be able to pull away.
I asked him what he considered a perfect race. He said perfect start, perfect turn, perfect finish. He had a perfect race today.
We are back here in New Trier, this beautiful pool, and we'll take a look at the diving order now as we see the divers in action. Dan Deegan of Bennett will be going first. Tom Caruso currently ranked 2nd. followed by Ryan Gessner, the 8th ranked diver at this point. Patrick Burke will follow him. Brad Shirley, ranked 5th from Tinley Park Andrew High School. Matt Winfield, the 9th ranked diver at this stage, will follow him. Then it will be Andrew Alt from right here in Winnetka, New Trier High School, ranked 10th. Rockford Guilford's Tom Wright, the defending state champion, follows him, and he is currently ranked 1st. Justin Knight, ranked 6th, will go next from Peoria High School. Then James Soar, 4th ranked from New Trier. And he will be followed by Patrick Murphy, the 3rd ranked diver from Brother Rice High School in Chicago, and Tony D'Amico, the 11th ranked diver from Naperville Central.
Yeah, they're going to use a new computerized system this year. They used to flash cards, and then it was all done by individuals keeping track of the scores, adding them up all by hand. Now it's all done by a computer. You see the computer there that factors into the scoreboard, and it'll show everybody in the spectators what's going on. It eliminates automatically the highest 2 scores and the lowest 2 scores of the 7 judges, multiplies it by the degree of difficulty, puts the total score on the scoreboard, and we know where every diver is standing right after they've done their dives. It also eliminates that human element that many people objected to, where coaches or officials would look at other judges to see how they should score it, whether it be high or low, and try to get an idea from the way the scores are going. Nobody knows what the other judge is putting into their computer.
Very good, and so we could have a wide range. Instead of all those closely bunched scores, we could see a situation where the judging widens out a little bit. Of course, there is a degree of judgment involved. It is not I mean, there's a lot of precision involved with it, but there's no absolute precision, not the absolute precision of the clock. It is a sport in which you are judged for your ability, your accuracy, your execution of technique.
Yeah, the East German judges are here this year, and I thought the same thing. I thought that there would be a wider variance, but watching the preliminaries yesterday, I was amazed at how close the scores were. We'll see how it is this afternoon.
Dan Deegan will start us off. He's from Lyle, Bennett Academy, a senior, and he currently ranks 7th. This will be a forward dive. Degree of difficulty 1.4.
A forward dive in the straight position. It's a very low degree of difficulty. It is one of the required dives, and he scored 6s on that.
And 1.8. Of course, that'll be thrown out.
8, 6, 5 1/2.
Take a look at it right here, Bruce.
Yeah, there he goes. He gets a good height on it, and then he goes over a little bit as he's going in the water. You can see that his legs start to fall over just a little bit.
Next will be Tom Caruso. Inward 1.5. Somersault, 2.4 the difficulty.
Now that's an optional dive. He did a real nice job on that. Higher degree of difficulty, optional dive, and look at the scores on that.
Hit it beautifully.
Yeah, 8.5, 8.5.
8,
Some 7.5s on the low side. Great job.
Now you see the nice height there, but look at the pike position, nice tight pike position, and he holds that his legs real straight all the way in.
Perfect entry into the water.
So, hey, and the judges agreed with you.
Ryan Gessner, forward dive. He may have been just a little long on his entry also. We'll see in a moment. And his score is basically low side of 3.5, the high side of 5.5, the others falling in between.
Yeah, I think he has a little trouble here on the takeoff. He's leaning back a little bit, and then he twisted a little bit at the end, as you notice there. He started to make a little bit of a twist. It takes a lot of concentration.
Patrick Burke, a reverse dive from the straight position.
After the preliminaries yesterday. Pat's a junior, will be back though, and the judges scored him
Pretty well.
Yeah.
Pretty well. He got a 7 on the top end. His low was a 5. Those will be thrown out.
Okay, let's see Pat's the dive here. He's looking down at the edge, and then he was over a little bit. I was right. I did see it right the first time.
Indeed. Here's Brad Shirley. Forward dive, 1.5 twist with a 1.8 difficulty rating on that guy. This guy's a tremendous diver.
Yeah, he's a good diver from Andrew. You see how he looks down the side of his arm there, then looks back to the water. He saved a little bit, but nice scores, real nice scores.
Mostly in the 7s, a low in the 6, everything else in the 7s, so he'll do well on that. Matt Whitfield is a freshman, just a freshman from Glenbrook South. Forward dive, 1.3 difficulty from the pike position.
Nice pike, nice height on that. Real nice dive. He really got up nice and high. Now, of course, we'll see if the judges agree with my score.
Tremendous elevation. He's in the 6s, Bruce.
Good job.
Very nice job.
That is just the freshman, you bet.
And Matt Whitfield, I know we'll see a lot more from him. Andrew Alt from right here. He's one of the local favorites, ranked 10th. This will be a forward dive, 1.3 degree of difficulty from the pike position.
Very nice and controlled. He looked real nice there. He was a little, to me, it was a little bit of a surprise. He didn't surprise his coach, Johnny Caget, how well he did. But
won the low score of 3.5.
Got 3.5 there.
Did he go over here? Let's see.
It looked like he flew a little bit. Instead of going straight up, it looked like he flew. It looked better from my angle than the judge's angle.
Tom Wright, he is the state champion, and this will be an inward dive. Straight dive, 1.8 the degree of difficulty. Oh, yeah.
You can see why he's state champion. Actually, he's 1 or 2 years in a row. This is his third shot at being the state champion.
He has 1.9 up there, mostly in the 8.5 range.
But look at how controlled he is. That's in the straight position, obviously, and straight as an arrow. Wow.
Boy, what a poised performer, too. You can just see it, the mental poise that he has. Justin Knight up next with a forward dive. 1.4 the degree of difficulty. Straight dive. Beautiful dive, I thought, by Justin Knight.
Justin did a nice job on that. Straight position, forward dive.
See what type of scores he gets here.
We have to wait till all the scores are entered before the computer will display them.
And the officials are working on them. Maybe 1 or 2.
Here's a replay on that dive. Straight up and tight in.
He got 1.8. The rest of them on the 7.5 area. That's a tremendous score for the senior.
Pretty consistent scores there, too.
James Sawyer, currently ranked 4th. He'll get a big support here. He has a forward dive from the straight position, 1.4 the degree of difficulty.
Yeah, he looks like he was a little short on the entry on that. James is an excellent diver. He placed last year in the state meet, and yeah, obviously he was a little short. The judges agreed with your assessment of it, and
well, he did get pretty good scores. His low end is a 5, his high end is a 7.
If you're going to miss one of the dives, that would be the one to miss because it has the lowest degree of difficulty. He's got a 2.6 coming up later in the meet.
Front dive for Patrick Murphy. Well, he got an awful lot of elevation on that. Yeah. 1.3 the degree of difficulty. That board really bent as he was getting up in the air.
They know how to ride that board, and the scores were good again on that one.
Watch that board flex.
Yeah. A little out of control as he did his pike, but after that he held it together pretty well.
Patrick Murphy currently ranked 3rd. Here's Tony D'Amico, the 11th ranked, and he is a reverse diver. A dive here, 1.8 the degree of difficulty. can hold your breath. Yeah. You always hold your breath when you see them, those reverse dives. They can be tricky.
7 1/2.
As a swimming coach, I didn't like to see those reverse dives.
Now we come down the stretch.
2.4.
So Dan Deegan right here. Back 1.5 somersault. His third dive. 2.4 the degree of difficulty. Was scored pretty well.
Yeah,
very well.
It's up, and let's see. It looks like from the actually looked better from the judge's angle than our angle. It looked like there was more splash.
Tom Caruso coming up next.
2.6.
He's way up at 432.75 right now. Reversed. 1.5 somersault, 1.5 twist. 2.6, that's the toughest dive we've seen today in terms of difficulty. And boy, he made it look easy, didn't he?
Tom saved the best for last. He did a fabulous job on that dive.
That should leave a few impressions at 8.5
I hope we get to see that again. Let's see the. I don't know if you can appreciate how high he gets here and what he does in the air. But look at that. Up in the air and wonderful finish. A little bit of a twist at the end. And
so Tom Caruso, that was as good of a dive as we've seen. Ryan Gessner here, reverse 1.5 somersault on the pike position, 2.5 the degree of difficulty.
Again, from this angle, it looked like he was close to the board, but I don't think he was. I think the judges would be more concerned that he looked a little out of control. The scores were low. Let's see what it looks like from our camera angle here. Pike wasn't good. His legs broke position a little bit, and I think that's why he was judged.
Very, very hard dive. Here's Patrick Burke for his third. He's from Barrington. Back 1.5 somersault, 1 1/2 twist. It's the same dive we saw a few moments ago. Tough. Free position dive.
Scoring in the last dive. Let's see how they feel.
Caruso's dive, yeah.
6, 5, 4 1/2, 4 1/2.
Good twist. Lost a little control at the beginning there of the twist. He wasn't sure where to grab it, looked like, with his arms. But then he did get it in quite well.
Brad Shirley from Tinley Park Andrews High School. Back 1.5 somersault, pike position, 2.4 the difficulty.
He got up nice and high, and it looked like a nice dive. It looked like he held his position well, and we'll see what it looks like here.
Looked like a nice vertical entry there.
Yeah, scores were pretty good, pretty consistent. Straight, broke his position a little bit at the, and then looked like he whipped a little bit at the end here.
Matt Whitfield from Glenbrook South, his final dive. 2.3 the degree of difficulty. Back 1 somersault, 1.5 twist. Free position.
Just to be here at this level is a fine testament to his diving ability. Nice, looking straight ahead. Good, pretty good entry.
And pretty good scores, too. Not bad. Andrew Alt from New Trier. His final dive, forward, 2 somersault. Pike, 2.3 the difficulty. Splash going in.
Again, he's just a junior, and he'll be back again next year. The experience is so valuable.
5
He's had a good meet. Best meet of the year.
Really has.
There he goes. He was looking, actually, that dive was pretty great.
Pretty good.
Yeah. And here's our defending champion. And he's our, this is his last dive he'll do in high school. I'm sure he's looking forward to diving in college.
Reverse 1.5 somersault, 1.5 twist, 2.6. Tough dive.
Our defending champion.
Yep, and likely to be so again. What a performance. He left him with something to remember, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. The good ones always save the best one for last.
Boy, and that's not easy to do.
Look at this dive. Just how tight he twists. It looks like he twists all day long. Rockford Guilford has a tradition of strong diving, and Gene Cassiope does such a nice job.
Justin Knight here.
Forward 1.5
Forward
somersault,
1.5 with
2
2 twists.
Free position,
This is a free position
2.6.
dive, 2.6 the degree of difficulty on it for Justin Knight.
Well, Justin looked like he got out a little farther than he wanted to. I ride that board up a little bit more instead of out. And I think the judges noticed that too.
It's a very difficult dive.
Yeah,
Number 31, James Soar.
it is. Very nice, really nice job.
Twist, free position, 2.6.
And here's James Soar. He knows the school. This is his last dive. Reverse 1.5 somersault, 1.5 twist.
Little trouble on the entry. Nice job, though.
2.6 the degree of difficulty. A young man who knows, has been practicing on these boards. He knows them inside out. He knows every bit of this pool.
5 1/2. 4
Yeah, and he wanted to go out being in the top 5, and looks like he has.
He went out with his toes pointed up. We know that.
That's right, but he's in 3rd position with a couple divers left.
Patrick Murphy. Forward,
And here's the guy
1.5
that
somersault.
Patrick's the guy that he has to beat.
From Brother Rice in Chicago. 2 twists in this dive.
Patrick, nice job. Wow. Nice twisting. Looked very confident.
That chubby checker never twisted any better than that, I'll tell you. That was good.
6.
Look at this dive. He is twisting the night away. Very nice.
Right in there. Right in there.
And he holds on to his 3rd place spot. So Jim Soar from New Trier looks like he's going to be 4th.
Tony D'Amico, Naperville Central. Reverse 1.5. And he was over.
Yeah, Tony did get over a little bit. And it goes a little bit into, Tony had to have his best dives just to make it into the finals. And he finished 11 in the preliminaries, but we kind of ran out of dives. His good ones were used up early.
This concludes
Unfortunately, those are the last 3 of the ones that are shown on television.
While so many, as you say, have to burn their best dives to make it, because the competition is so stiff. But we know one thing, Tom Wright had some great dives left. I don't think you'll see it too much better than we've seen it today. Some great diving with Tom Wright from Rockford Guilford High School being the state champion. He improved his score tremendously. Let's go to the medals presentation.
5.90 points from Peoria High School, Justin Knight.
Finished just under 400 points total. Good job for this young man.
Justin did a nice job. He held his position.
In 5th place.
Very nice diving today.
5.45 points. Brad Shirley of Andrew.
Brad Shirley is a senior, so he is finishing up over 400 points here in the finals. I think that's the same Fed as what he did last year, if I remember.
That's right, and you know, he's been diving competitively for 8 years.
11.70 points. James Soar of New Trier.
And James Soar gets a big hand. Winnetka, New Trier the place, 411.70 his total score. This is his moment of glory.
Well, one of them. His goal is to break 400 points, and I'm sure he's real happy about that.
Patrick Murphy, Brother Rice.
Boy, this guy's a good diver here. Patrick Murphy, he showed us something from Brother Rice High School. He's up there in the scoring. Nice job for that young man.
Believe it or not, this next guy is going to be the happiest person in the place, I think, because maybe besides Tom Wright, but he's the only underclassman. He'll be back next year. The other 5 will be gone.
And boy, I'll tell you, had he, look at that, the big hug right there. There's a sign of respect, a sign of caring. This young man, I'll tell you what, he got a tough score on one dive, too, I think. I think the fans felt that way, but boy, he was still so outstanding. Look
at how he's so competitive, and they can tell that the other competitors really enjoy it.
Driving champion with 518.25 points from Rockford, Guilford, Tom Wright.
He was within 20 points of the state record with his performance today. He upped his total 50 points from what he did last year when he won it. That's Mark Andonoff, the head of the swimming coach at Downers Grove South High School.
And Tom is state champion 3rd year in a row, and look at that smile on his face. Is he a happy young man? And he really has done his coach, Gene Cassiope, proud.
One of the most beautiful events to watch, the 100-yard butterfly. As we will see it here, we'll remind you that the broadcast rights to today's men's swimming and diving finals have been granted to Sports Channel by the Illinois High School Association solely for the entertainment of our viewing audience. Any reproduction of this event without the written consent of Sports Channel or the IHSA is prohibited. So we're back. Bill Hazen back with Bruce Woodbury. Let's take a look at our competitors. Lane 2, Steve Van Gluckheit, who is just a freshman from Fenwick High School in Oak Park. Joe Hayes in lane 3, a sophomore from Bennett Academy in Lisle. Darren Hedanek, the top seed from Stevenson High School in lane 4. Lane 5, Doug Hood, second seed from Rolling Meadows High School. Lane 6, Todd Hamilton, senior from Hinsdale Central. And lane 7, Nick Koo, a junior from Downers Grove South High School.
Well, Darren was 3rd last year, and you remember his race from earlier today. He really went out, and after that in the individual medley. So that was his best stroke. His best stroke's the butterfly, and we'll see him. He's got a chance to be the individual state champion. He's the lead qualifier today. But Doug Hood was 2nd last year, and with a time of 50.9. It's going to take a great swim to beat.
Here we go. Good clean start. It looked like Darren Hedanek got a tremendous explosion.
Just like he did in the individual medley there, Bill.
Great starter. Great starter. And his time in the prelims was 50.92. And right now, he's the man out in front, right alongside of him, Doug Hood.
Now, that's Doug that's right in front.
Yeah, indeed. Doug Hood running a nice race here.
Darren's in the yellow cap.
Joe Hayes also running well in lane 2, or lane 3 right now.
Joe can't stand to lose, he told me, and he's really out for it. It looks like Joe's going to be the one at the lead at the 75 there.
Well, we'll see now as they come down the stretch. Hedanek trying to catch Doug Hood.
Doug Hood is the leader right now.
And Hood is going to get it. He has a state championship. Doug Hood coming from lane 5, the 2nd seed. And he carries the banner for Rolling Meadows High School. And that's a state championship.
Boy, what a race.
He and Hedanek
changed hands 3 times. It was really a great spectators race.
Indeed it was. That was a good job by Doug Hood. There's your state champion. He was in there as preliminary time 51.13. He bettered that by nearly a second.
Yeah, look at there. Joe was at lane 3, was ahead going into the turn, but coming out of the turn, it looked like Doug just exploded off the wall. His arms were straight pushing off the wall, and now watch this finish. He's drops that head, and there's his last breath, I believe. He puts that head down, and look at how strong it is. That is such a powerful stroke. It uses the same muscles as the freestyle, but boy, it is such a powerful stroke.
There's your champion, Doug Hood. And it looks like they're going to be passing out some hardware, so we'll go for the medals celebration, and they hand out the medals here. The presenter is Lee Kennecke, girls athletic director at New Trier High School, and she runs this tournament. She is serving as the state final manager for the IHSA boys state final swimming and diving meet.
With a time of 53.
Lee and her staff do such a wonderful job at organizing and running these meets. There's 680 swimmers, coaches, parents, friends, family, teammates. Everybody has to be accommodated, and she does such a great job.
There's Nick Koo. He's a junior. He'll be back next year.
61, Todd Hamilton.
Todd Hamilton, a senior, finishes out a wonderful career. Hinsdale Central High School. And about a half a second behind what he ran in the preliminaries.
Considering he was 17th place last year, he just did a great job.
Yeah,
fourth place with a time of 51.
But an up-and-coming freshman we're going to hear a lot from. Steve Van Blukite.
Fenwick.
51.61. He improved his time by 2/3 of a second. Just a freshman from Oak Park, Fenwick High School. One of many outstanding swimmers, and so many of Pendergast.
In third place,
so young.
with a time of 51.
Yeah, they're young, and they have a couple old ones too. A couple seniors swimming their last time today.
Joe Hayes, he's a sophomore. He'll be back. He improved his time half a second, or about 2/10 of a second.
Yeah,
better.
Joe's an interesting guy. He plays football for Bennett Academy and hopes to start next year at quarterback. He has an interesting superstition. He likes to always eat a blue cheese hamburger before the day he swims.
Hedanick of Stevenson.
Darren Hedanick, 50.93, almost identical, within 1/100th of a second of what he did in the preliminary. Very consistent performer. He was the top seed.
I think he wanted to be out a little bit faster, and he got into a little bit of a slow pace there, but you can't take anything away from Doug Hood, who won the event. Great job.
From Rolling Meadows High School.
Doug Hood of Rolling Meadows.
Improved his time by about half a second, did Doug Hood. 1/100th of a second of what he did in the preliminary. Very consistent performer. He was the top seed.
I think he wanted to be out a little bit faster, and he got into a little bit of a slow pace there, but you can't take anything away from Doug Hood, who won the event. Great job by Doug.
From Rolling Meadows High School.
Doug Hood of Rolling Meadows.
Improved his time by about half a second, did Doug Hood. 50.61. He was within a half a second of the state record held by Tom Cole of Prospect High School from 1978. The 100-yard freestyle, the quick guys, you'll see them in action here. And last year this event was won by Dan Stoppenhagen of Peoria Richwoods. So we'll see. That's the state record, as you see, held by Brian Kurzaoff of Hinsdale South High School. And so we'll take a look at the field that's going to go after them. Lane 2, Eric Doré, a junior from Hinsdale South High School in lane 2. In lane 3, senior Steve Fedeco from Downers Grove South High School in lane 3. Lane 4, Bob Barber, the top seed from Hinsdale Central, a senior. Derek Ammerman in lane 5, a senior, second seed from Peoria High School. And a tremendous swimmer. Lane 6, Doug Fulling from Rantoul. He's just a junior. In lane 7, is James Mulligan from Lake Forest High School. And interesting story about him. He won his preliminary heat swimming from lane 1. Just to get here wasn't a major accomplishment for James Mulligan.
Yeah, he was James was 20th last year. All these boys were in the event last year, except for Doug Fulling from Rantoul, but all of them placed last year. Amazing story, Bob Barber was 26th last year. He's made the biggest improvement over his time from last year.
Good clean start. We are underway.
Just as in the 50, Derek made a great start, leans back a little bit and kind of whips himself out there in front, and he and Steve Fedeco are the ones that are the leaders now, if we can even have a leader. They're so close.
Very, very tight. Derek Ammerman certainly is right there with him as well.
This third lap is the key, I think. It's mentally, you have to be tough. You know you're going to hold on the last length because it is the last length. This third one is the toughest mentally, and Barber is doing a great job.
And Fedeco right alongside. It'll be tight.
Else. Oh wow, what a race!
Indeed, 3-4 abreast here. It's going to be very tough to split them.
Wow.
Very tough to split them. The state championship goes to
Barber.
Indeed, Bob Barber with a 46.85, a blistering time.
First 3 places, I don't know how you could have placed them. Thank goodness for electronic timing.
That's the only, it was so tight down the stretch. The difference just literally hundredths of seconds. Only 600ths of a second separating number 1 and number 2. 400ths of a second, really. Incredible. It's so tight, the human eye, you couldn't see the difference.
Imagine what it was like 10, 15 years ago when we didn't have automatic timing and we had judges on the side trying to pick the winner.
We'll take a look. That's Bob Barber. Here's how he did it.
Look at, they all kind of turn together. Each one has a little bit different push off the wall, and they hold their breath right as they come off the wall here, and then we'll get a beautiful wide shot of the finish here in a second, where they're hardly breathing, they're kicking so hard, and look at that shot. I don't know how anybody could pick that. That's why we have that electronic timing.
Oh boy.
Oh, I could have done that. I picked 4.
In slow motion, it looks so much easier. There's your state champion, Bob Barber from Hinsdale Central High School.
That was a key event for Hinsdale. They had to win that if they wanted to have a chance at that state trophy.
Let's go to the medals right now. And our presenter is Isaac Marshall, the head boys swimming coach at Lane High School in Chicago, a member of the IHSA Boys Swimming Advisory Committee.
4-7, Eric Doré of Hinsdale Central.
He is a junior. He will be back.
Eric's had a great meet. He really has. Did really nice job today. And of course, in the 50-yard, we'll see him again in the relays.
Doug Fulling finished 5th in this event. Improved his time from the prelims. Doing a nice job. I know he's enjoying being here and having a chance to compete.
With a time of 47.12, James Mulligan of Lake Forest.
This is twice from the outside lane when he's finished well better than the last. James Mulligan, the man who is impervious to that outside lane. He looked all right.
And I was watching his coach over there. His coach was so excited that he had moved up from 6th to 4th today.
46.95. Steve Fedeco, Downers Grove South.
And he was holding on. The senior held off a challenge from Mulligan at the end. Actually, we didn't see him on the outside. He was very close to those first 3 who were together there. There's Fedeco, finished 3rd.
In 2nd place, with a time of 46.89, Derek Ammerman of Peoria.
We're talking 600ths of a second there between 3rd and 2nd. Derek Ammerman.
He hopes to swim at University of Illinois. I'm glad we're going to keep some of our talented swimmers in state. So many of them opt to go to those warmer climates, you know.
100-yard freestyle.
And Bob Barber, the state champion, a junior. He'll be back to defend that state crown a year from now. He was the top seed from Hinsdale Central.
Bob's another one from Hinsdale who's had an outstanding meet. In the 50 relays, he's going to be a key for Tom next year, Tom Swears. And he looks excited today.
Well, he should be. He certainly swam a great, great race. Perhaps this race of all that we'll see today takes a tremendous amount of heart, tremendous continuous punishment that you take 20 lengths of the state championship pool in the 500-yard freestyle. And these are the men who are going to attack it, these young men. In lane 2, we'll be looking at a young man by the name of Ben Thayer. He is a sophomore from St. Charles High School. There's a look at Ben. Just a sophomore competing in this race. And then right alongside a freshman, Tyler Holcomb from Palatine Friend High School. The state champion right next to him, the defending state champion, is a senior, Greg Maurer. He's the top seed from Loyola Academy in Wilmette. Then Ed Pierce, who has a good shot. Second seed from Fenwick High School in Oak Park. That ought to be a heck of a race. Jeff Cook in lane 6, a junior from Peoria Richwoods. And in lane 7, Zach Newcomer, truly a newcomer in name, from Rockford Guilford. He's just a sophomore.
He's a sophomore, but he was 20th last year with a 4:56. He's already improved himself 12 seconds. I'm sure he looks to improve himself a little bit more today. He's in the final heat. He's already made some big improvements this year. As you said, it really takes a special mindset for swimming the distance events. I really admire these guys. This is my favorite group to coach. When I was coaching, this is the group I really enjoyed coaching the most because they were mentally tough and they love to practice.
Boy, and practice means a hard day here.
And, well, the old saying is, when the going gets tough, the sprinters get out. And the distance swimmers, they love to practice. They want to know after 3 hours why we have to stop.
Yeah, that sounds like that old saying was created by the distance guys.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Well, that's pretty good. Well, we're going to have an interesting race here.
We are going to have an interesting race. Watching the preliminaries last night, it looked like both Greg Maurer and Ed Pierce were holding back slightly. Ed looked more relaxed than he usually does, and Greg looked pretty relaxed last night as well. They both looked like they held back a little bit, and they were within 1 second of each other the whole way.
Maurer and Holcomb right now, Bruce, 1 and 2, with Ed Pierce in lane 5, third. Very close.
Yeah, you know.
In fact, Holcomb is now taking the lead. Holcomb is now the front runner with Maurer right there. So Holcomb setting the pace. They're running neck and neck. It's almost indistinguishable here. This is the 5th length. Now on to number 6.
Ed looks like he's really under control in lane 5, but I'm used to seeing Ed go out a little bit harder, and it really kind of surprises me that he's not out a little bit better, but maybe he's in more control. He does sometimes look out of control, but today looks very much in control. We'll just have to see how the race progresses. Boy,
Maurer just made a strong move coming off of that turn. He's reclaimed the lead. You see him go in there.
Greg's a great swimmer. He's a defending champion in this meet, and you can see Ed's come up a little bit now, but he's a great swimmer, and the only thing is what Greg's stamina is going to be, you know, after being sick and missing so much practice this year. His teammate Haas did a great job in the butterfly, moving from 11th place to 7th place, and we'll see if Greg can hold on and be the state champion again.
Right now, Ben Thayer is holding down the 4th spot from lane 2. Jeff Cook, the 5th spot from lane 6, and Zach Newcomer, lane 7, is in 6th. And you can hear the fans yelling, Eddie. You know which cheering section that is, don't you?
Yeah,
that's the Fenwick group. And now you get those 3 swimmers virtually neck and neck. Holcomb and Maurer almost indistinguishable, and Pierce is just a touch behind. Look at that. 3 of them hit the turn almost identically.
And Holcomb's kind of slid over to be a little bit closer to Maurer to do a little drafting off of Greg.
Very interesting, and of course drafting in the swimming pool, and you might talk a little bit about this. How does it compare, say, to the drafting we hear about with in the sport of automobile racing?
Very much the same, except I think it's a little bit more mental in the swimming pool, that if you get to swim right next to somebody, it's a little bit easier. I know guys don't like to lead in practice, they like to have somebody following, but look at this race as it shapes up here. You have a 3-person race, 3 great swimmers, the freshman Holcomb turning first, it looked like, but Ed Pierce from Fenwick coming out first.
Very good turn for Pierce there, 15. This is length number 15 of 20. And right now, those muscles are screaming stop. They're screaming, let's don't do this anymore. But these young men are really putting it to the floor. And boy, look at Pierce break out of there.
Yeah.
Look at Pierce go. He's hit a good zone. He is well out of range. He's had 2 good turns back to back here. He has almost a full body length.
It looked like he just wanted to stay with him for the first 250 yards or 300 yards and then put on a burst of speed. He's already improved himself 2 seconds over last night. And he looked like he caught Maurer a little bit when he wasn't looking, maybe looking at the other side.
This is length number 18. They have 1 full time around to go here. Can Pierce be stopped?
I don't think so. We mentioned at the beginning of the race how he looked under control, and I think he knew exactly what he was doing. He looked very much in control, and he knows exactly where he wanted to be at this point. And
Pierce, he's kicking in the afterburners, and it doesn't look as if he's going to be caught. He has it all going his way. Maurer in second. Maurer and Holcomb fighting for second. Pierce will win the state crown. Maurer edges out Holcomb for second.
Very nice, very nice. Beautifully controlled race by Ed Pierce. Holcomb, who did his best time as a freshman, he's as happy as if he won the race. And Greg, of course, who had been fighting that illness for so long, I'm sure he's not going to use that as an excuse. Swam a great race himself.
Pierce won this as much as anything with not only his power down the stretch, but also he had some great turns that really helped him, Bruce.
I hope we get to see a key part of the race here. Here's where, looks like this is where Pierce takes the lead going into that turn and comes out, and he comes out really strong and looks like he really is gaining. You know, see, they're all together, and Greg is breathing on the other side, so he's maybe lost a little contact with him, and Ed is just almost in that 1 length has pulled out a full body length. It's a great move, a great tactical race by Ed Pierce. Look at that, over a whole body length now, and I just can't get over the tactics that he had during that race. Well, beautiful.
He saved his best. There's no question about that. He shaved over almost 4 seconds off of his time from the preliminary. His time is almost identical to Greg Maurer's time when he won it last year. So it's incredible. Now, when we came right down the stretch, and this is on the gun lap now.
This is, yeah, the very last lap, last half of the pool, and you can see Ed looks like he's getting stronger. He's just a tremendous finish. He swam beautifully. He didn't go out too hard and leave his best part of the race in the first 1,500 yards. Beautifully done race. Very well coached.
And now they'll present the medals to our very deserving winners. Neil McCauley, the athletic director at Naperville North High School in Naperville, serving on the IHSA Boys Swimming Advisory Committee, will have the honors of handing out these medals today.
44.20, Zach Newcomer of Rockford, Guilford.
Did a nice job, and he is on the award stand in 6th place. Improved his time. Actually, he was in 1/100th of a second of what he swam last night. The prelims. Can you believe that? How about that for consistency?
That's right. And you know, Zach is only a sophomore, and he's improved himself over 12 seconds from last year. He'll be state champion if he does that again.
Jeff Cook, a junior, he'll be coming back. He's from Peoria Richwoods High School and finishes 5th as he ascends to the medal stand.
Funny how not many seniors like to swim that. They must get smarter as the years go on.
You're right about that.
Ben Thayer of St. Charles.
He is a sophomore, finishing 4th, has a great future ahead of him. 4:42.99, a very respectable time, about a half second off of what he did in the preliminaries, however.
St. Charles has a strong tradition in the distance events. Very good.
9-6, Tyler Holcomb.
Boy, what a freshman this young man is. 4:35.96, nearly 6-second improvement over his preliminary time. He swam the race of his life.
Yeah,
right here.
He is, and he looked like, you saw him after the end of the race, he looked like he won it. He was so happy.
Swam beautifully. He really pushed Maurer and Pierce hard. He was there.
Yeah, he sure was.
He was there.
In second place with a time of 4 minutes 35.54, Greg Moore of Loyola.
Defending state champion, and as you mentioned, he is not 100%, but boy, he sure looked great today. He swam an outstanding race. Only a superhuman effort by Ed Pierce could beat him today.
Yeah, beautifully tactically swum race by Ed. And as I say, I'm sure Greg is not going to make any excuses for himself. He didn't have it today, but he had his glory last year.
Ed Pierce, the senior, goes out with a state title, and boy, he looks good. He ran a great race when it counted, and improved his time 4 seconds coming down the stretch.
And a senior, what a way to go out.
It's the 200-yard freestyle relay, and this is the event that's being brought back after a considerable absence here. And yesterday we had a dead heat finish for first and a state record in the process. So we think we're going to see a very good race here. Downers Grove South in lane 2. And a good strong time. Actually, a lot of these teams ran very well. Hinsdale Central High School in lane 3. The tied for the top seed with Fenwick is Loyola Academy in lane 4. Fenwick High School in lane 5. They finished in that dead heat at 126.86 yesterday. Evanston Township in lane 6. They're not far off the pace. And Barrington High School, an always strong Barrington team, has a good representation in lane 7. So here we go. We have a couple of interesting choices here. Both Greg Maurer, we just saw, and Ed Pierce, both of whom we just saw in the 500, are supposed to compete in this event back-to-back, the Ironmen. Good strong start. Looked like Hinsdale Central or Loyola Academy got out pretty quickly.
Yeah, it looks like Hinsdale Central or Downers Grove South, actually, from my angle.
Yeah. And this is an 8-length race, 4 full laps.
Good sprinters can keep their head up high, and the starts are going to be so important, the relay exchanges. And Downers Grove has gotten out real quickly, almost a half a body length, but look at how they're catching up. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, it really is. Fenwick is running very strongly, and so is Hinsdale Central. And right now, I would say Fenwick is on top by by very little. It is very close.
And Fenwick is slightly on top in lane 5, but then it's lane 3 who's second, Hinsdale Central. These are the two teams that are vying for the state trophy right now.
Yeah, it's become a 2-horse race for the moment. Hinsdale Central in lane 3, Fenwick High School in lane 5. And these guys right here set the stage for the strong finishers to get in the water. Now, Loyola Academy has come up strong. Look at this. Loyola Academy with a tremendous burst here.
That's Greg Maurer there, but it looks like Ed Pierce from
Fenwick, and Fenwick is going to win it. Fenwick wins it.
New state record.
A new state record indeed. 126.52. What a race.
Woo. I think that might put the nail in the coffin for Hinsdale in terms of the state trophy. they're still in the running, of course, and there's nothing's final yet, but mentally it's going to be tough to overcome that. What a great race. I don't know how you can call that. It is a fabulous race to watch, and I am really, for one, happy they put that back in. Watch that. Look at how close that is. Those people are just, those swimmers are just so close, and it really puts a premium on great starts and turns. And Ed's finish there, his turn was fabulous, and it's particularly interesting to notice that when he was swimming the 500 just 5 minutes ago, his stroke was a little bit shorter than that. He wasn't moving his arms as fast. In this race, his head was down, and he was moving his arms much faster. To change gears like that is amazing.
To be able to go the distance and then come back in a sprint like this, that's a great swimmer right there. And Fenwick really has not only a state championship, but also a state record time to boot. And they will enjoy the medal ceremony, which we'll be bringing you right now. Art Edstrom, the head boys swimming coach at Deerfield High School, serves the IHSA as member of the boys swimming advisory committee. He'll be handing out the awards.
.20, Barrington.
The red shirt there.
Yeah, and
very popular figure in swimming in Illinois.
President of the Illinois Swimming Association as well. Barrington High School finishes 6th with a 129.20. That's only a second over the state record going into this meet. So they ran well, 2nd and 2/10. So there were a lot of good. It's a very competitive race. You had 6 teams that really swam their hearts out here.
Place with a time of 1 minute 28.82, Evanston.
Evanston Township, they have a great loyal fan base here that come up here. And
I think all the teams do it. Just the Evanston people are right on our backs. We hear them, we hear them so well. But yeah, you're right. They are a very strong swimming tradition, and they really support their swimmers.
Did a good job finishing in 4th. As you see the Evanston people there. Ran a nice race coming from lane 6. We've not seen anybody win anything from an outside lane today.
And you rarely do, because they seed them with the fastest swimmers on the inside. Based on the preliminary times, theoretically, that's the faster part of the pool, and that person has the advantage of being able to look on both sides if that swimmer is capable of doing it. The trouble is they swim so fast these days that you don't have time to look.
Downers Grove South High School with a very solid performance. This really, though, boiled down to a 3-horse race.
Horses.
All 3 of whom were pretty darn close. Hinsdale Central,
1 minute 27.19.
127.19. That's below the old state record, which was broken yesterday. That was a good performance by Hinsdale Central for 3rd place. And then the other 2 remaining teams both broke the state record, both Loyola and Fenwick. But this is Hinsdale Central's moment right here, as Art Edstrom gives them their medals, their amateur medals.
In 2nd place.
Nice job.
Yeah, Hinsdale has done a very nice job.
Loyola Academy, 126.76, broke the record of 126.86, which they both Loyola and Fenwick established when they finished in an incredible dead heat. So close that even the 100th of a second timer on this very sophisticated timing device could not split them.
That's right. It's incredible the swimming that we're seeing these days. And all levels. 8 and under swim pretty much very competitively. Seen ties at that level. At the Olympic level, as you remember, a couple of years ago, we had a tie for first.
Time of 126.52, a new pool record. Fenwick.
So Fenwick wins it. And of course, that is a new state record. Steve Von Glukite, a freshman, Jay Millsap, a sophomore, Tim Dragas, a senior, and Ed Pierce, a senior. And I believe you had mentioned that was your view that Pierce was on that anchor leg. And boy, he sure had something extra. How you can go 20 laps, 500 yards, the way he did freestyle and then come back just a few minutes later and have the finishing kick that he had. Boy, what an athlete that Ed Pierce is.
Especially at this level.
The 100-yard backstroke, 4 lengths of this pool. There's been a rule change in this event involving the turns, which may increase the total speed of our performers. We'll tell you a little bit more about that in a moment or two, but let's take a look at the competitors. In lane 2, Aaron Bear, a senior from Rock Island High School, as he will be competing. There's a look at Aaron. At lane 3, Tim Dragas, a senior from Fenwick, outstanding swimmer. Lane 4, the top seed, Brian Wells, Aurora West High School, clocked a 52.89 in the preliminaries. Brian Pendergast, lane 5, a sophomore, second seed from Fenwick. In lane 6, Mark Bontrager, a senior from Naperville North High School. Lane 7, Tom Warta, a senior from St. Patrick High School in Chicago. That's the field for this. And as we get going, when we get to the turns, particularly here early, right after we get the electronic tone to get this event underway, I want you to talk a little bit about the turns immediately so we can kind of watch those, Bruce, and get a little feeling for it. But right now, they're about ready to go.
Yeah, this new turn, I think, does increase the speed of the race. I know the swimmers like it. The officials hate it because it's so hard to tell whether the boys doing it legally or not.
Underway, another good clean start. We haven't had any problems with that today.
Look at that start. One of them's underwater, almost half the length of the pool.
That was Brian Wells in lane 4.
The leading qualifier, and I'm interested to see how Brian does today. Look, people, they didn't believe he was for real, but I think he's for real. He's a great backstroker. He was 10th last year, and you can see that turn, that they can turn over on their stomach before their hand hits the wall. It used to be that you have to hit the wall first before you're allowed to roll over on your stomach. But you can turn over, their momentum carries them into the wall. You're not allowed to glide into the wall.
Mark Bontrager coming up in lane 6. He is really challenging hard, and it's hard to tell from this angle who's won it. Did Bontrager win it?
Nope, Brian Wells.
He was just edged out by hundredths of a second. By 1300ths of a second. It was that close. What a race by Mark Bontrager, and Brian Wells just narrowly beat him.
Well, I'll tell you, the people that said that Brian Wells wasn't for real ought to take a look at the replay, especially the finish and the way he swims that backstroke. He did an outstanding job. His time last year was 55.5 seconds, and now he's got the fastest time in the state, 3 seconds faster than what he was last year. There's a perfect example of the turn. He rolls over. He does it beautifully. He's got that mastered, and as you said, they're coming off the wall together, but Brian's finish was superior. It was fabulous finish. Look at how quickly he moves his arms through the water, or through the air, to get a hold of that water, and finish a full arm stroke ahead of, who was it, Brian?
Yeah, Mark Bontrager, who was right there with him. You know, he kind of snuck in there because he was on the outside. We didn't have that great of a view of him. He ran a great race from the outside. Now let's watch the athletes get their medals. And to present the medals, Rick Townsend, the head boys swimming coach at Hinsdale South High School and a member of the IHSA Boys Swimming Advisory Committee. Tom Warta is introduced first. He finished 6th with a 53.41 his time, a senior.
From St. Pat's. Been swimming competitively for 9 years. Wow.
In 5th place with a time of 53.30.
Great haircut.
Aaron Bear of Rock Island.
I'll say that. Aaron Bear from Rock Island High School, finishing 5th, and he will receive his medal for an outstanding job. A lot of shaved heads in this sport, I'll tell you that.
Doesn't seem like there's many as last year, but maybe they were a little more creative last year. I like the one that said "Just Do It." On it had his hair shaved. It said "Just Do It."
Tim Dragas took fourth, bettered his time almost a full second from the prelims.
Brian Pendergast of Fenwick.
Brian Pendergast, the Fenwick, and he was the favorite, really. I think in the minds of many. 52.86. He was about a half second better than his preliminary time.
Yeah, he was third place last year. Brian was, but and the two people that beat him last year graduated.
This guy running from the outside almost won this race in lane 6. Not a favorable lane. He almost pulled it off and helped Naperville North High School quite a bit with an outstanding performance. He was 13/100ths of a second away.
Mark's a great kid. A perfect race for him is not to win the event so much as to help the team in the process. What an unselfish attitude he has.
He certainly did that. Brian Wells, the top seed, hung on at the end, and as you say, he was excellent down the stretch.
Yeah, Brian, I like, look at Brian. Look at how happy he is.
Oh, yeah.
And he's only been swimming competitively for 4 years, 4.5 years. He's just gotten into it and has really shown some talent in the sport. And I hope he pursues it.
Fenwick High School of Oak Park has really taken command here. Hinsdale Central has been giving them a heck of a battle. But right now, look at that battle for third between Naperville North and Loyola and Barrington right now in fifth. That's the front side. Downers Grove South is right behind them, 2 points behind Barrington. Now, as we go to the 100-yard breaststroke, Steve Scott in lane 2 from University High School in Normal. He's a junior. Clark Purcell, a senior from O'Fallon, that's down near St. Louis, tied for the second seed. Finished in a dead heat. Steve von Glukite in lane 4, just a freshman, he's the top seed. Greg Wolniak tied for the second seed with Clark Purcell. They finished in a dead heat. He's a junior. And very fine performer. Dan Workman, a senior from Carbondale High School in lane 6. Todd Harvey, a sophomore from St. Charles High School in lane 7. So that's the look at our field now.
Steve in lane 4 is the pre-race favorite in this event.
Clocked a 58.71.
Just a freshman.
Preliminary, yeah.
Mr. Starter, take your mark.
And they're off and running.
This is kind of an interesting race to watch. There's contrast in styles, and every swimmer has to swim within themselves. If your style is to move your arms real fast and depend on your kick, then you can't be watching somebody else that's depending more on his arms. Otherwise, you're going to throw your whole style off. So you've got to concentrate on your own stroke.
Von Glukite and Purcell hit the board about the same time, but now Purcell is out in front. Clark Purcell, a senior from O'Fallon High School. His father is in the Air Force at Scott Air Force Base down near St. Louis.
Couldn't be here today. I'm sure he'd like to be.
Oh, yeah. And he might have a chance to see his son take a championship. His mother, however, is here today to watch him. Clark Purcell still in the lead.
What a story.
Von Glukite trying to catch him. It's going to be very tight at the finish.
It's going to depend on who stretches first, and
who did.
And it was Clark Purcell.
He got there first. Clark Purcell, a state championship. Von Glukite, and you say it was a question of who stretched first.
Yeah, and that in the breaststroke, you could be pulling back when you're just getting to the wad.
There's his mother. There's his mother. She got it on videotape, and I'll guarantee you, she will be looking for the replay on Sports Channel for sure. How about that?
She's holding her own videotape camera. We might be looking for her replay.
Indeed. Although it may not be as steady as ours.
Okay, watch the race here. We got Clark is in the blue cap there. He's the first off the wall, and it looks like after the turn that Steve is starting to catch up. But then the stretch, and Steve is right there with him, and we'll watch the key to the race, I think, is the finish. Steve is caught up, and then the stretch, and He's stretching at the right time. He still doesn't realize it. What a happy mom.
Oh, man. And hey, would you believe we had another dead heat?
I wish his dad could have been here.
Yeah, indeed. But I know he'll enjoy watching it over time and time again. And I know there's going to be somebody running out to a phone as quickly as possible. And I know his dad is very proud right at this moment. Hey, did you know we have a dead heat for fourth?
No, I didn't.
Between Dan Workman and Todd Harvey, they finished dead heat at 59.66. And now let's watch the medals presentation. And doing the honors on our medals today, Charles McCarthy, the president of the Illinois Swimming Officials Association and the meet referee. So Mr. McCarthy will hand the medals to the winners. And boy, what an exciting finish we had.
Yeah.
So tight.
What a great story that
Now
is,
the
too.
awards.
Indeed.
5th place for the 100-yard breaststroke. The time of 59.
He's starting with 5th place, but because apparently we have a disqualification in lane 2. Steve Scott from University High School in Bloomington Normal pushed off the wall on his side, and you have to push off on your stomach in the breaststroke, and was caught doing it.
There is a tie for 3rd place.
Dead heat here for
the
3rd.
Time is 59.66. Todd Harvey from St. Charles.
That's a program with a lot of proud
And
tradition.
Dan Workman
St. Charles, of course.
Carbondale.
This is the first year in 14 years, I think, that they haven't been in the trophy hunt.
And Dan Workman, of course, Carbondale well represented from downstate. Right down where Southern Illinois is based, Carbondale High School. They have tremendous tradition there, as we know. So that is a tie for 3rd. Now Steve Scott, as you mentioned, was disqualified in lane 2. So that means 2nd place is Workman. And a Workman-like performance for Workman and Harvey.
58.42. Steve Van Gluckheit of Fenwick.
Steve Van Gluckheit, the freshman. So many good days ahead for him. He was down about 1/3 of a second off of his time in the prelims, but boy, he just got too much from Clark Purcell today. But Van Gluckheit will carry the banner.
He's a fabulous swimmer. Just to be in this meet as a freshman is such an accomplishment, and then to place in the top 3, be all state, is a fabulous accomplishment. He should be very proud of himself.
Here's the man, Clark Purcell, tied for the top spot in that heat, that dead heat finish with Greg Wolniak. But here, he was by himself. He improved his time by nearly half a second. Well, you take a look at the dominating performers. This is since 1960, actually, Bruce, and it's amazing how those championships seems to fall in the hand of a precious few schools.
Yeah, and it looks like the winds of change have started last year. Fenwick won their first state championship last year. They're well on their way to winning their second state championship this year. Hinsdale has probably been obviously the most consistent of the 5 schools listed there, and they were 5th last year. A disappointing season for them last year, but this year they're in the trophy hunt. They've done themselves very proud today.
400-yard freestyle, lane 2, Naperville North High School. In lane 3, Loyola Academy. They're the 3rd seed. In lane 4, the team from Fenwick High School, the defending state champions, and the top seed as well. In lane 5, Hinsdale Central, a 2nd seed, and they have a good shot at it. In lane number 6, Palatine Fremd High School. And in lane 7, Downers Grove South High School. Take a look at the swimmers poised, ready to take their marks. And get ready. Looked like a good clean start once again. We haven't had any difficulties with anybody jumping the gun here today.
And we shouldn't, because this is the last event. And the win a state championship is awesome. You really want to go out winning the last relay too. It's the last race of the season for all teams, and I'm sure that's what Oak Park Fenwick has in mind today.
Boy, Palatine Fremd is getting a great first leg in lane number 6. They are in the lead right now. Palatine Fremd and Hinsdale Central right there with them, and Fenwick is in third right now, although there's just a fraction of inches separating these three. But Palatine running well on the outside. Fremd High School.
Well, Fremd is aware, I'm sure, that Fenwick is aware that if they get disqualified, they've lost the state championship. Their first goal is not to get disqualified. Their second goal is to win the race.
So we'll see. Fremd continues to lead, although it's close at the turn. They're on their second sprinters now here, second freestylers. But it always seemed to me, looking at this race, that the real key people are the people who handle these middle groups, the second and third, especially the third, because that's your setup for your big finisher.
Yeah, it is a setup. You like to have a real strong person get out in front first. If you can get somebody out in that smooth water, that helps a lot too. It gets really rough in there with these large bodies diving in. But if you can have real strong people hold on to that, you've got a good shot at winning it.
Looks like Hinsdale Central right now in a controlling position, the second seed. But boy, they are really swimming very well right now. And look at what a strong third man Hinsdale Central has right now. Great power.
Fremd is coming up on him, though.
Indeed, from the outside. Fremd is hanging right in there. I can't get over the great job they're doing in lane 6. And Fenwick really hasn't shown to this point that real strong power that you expected as the top seed here. Hinsdale Central, Palatine Fremd. Those are the two schools that are doing it.
Ed Pierce is going to finish off for Fenwick. He's a senior. He's won 2 individual events. He anchored the 200 free relay that won it. So I wouldn't count Fenwick out yet.
Hinsdale Central with Fremd in second, Fenwick in third. As they hit the turn, 16 lengths in this race. And again, Hinsdale Central was there first, although it looks like Fenwick is starting to close and Fremd has fallen back to third.
Look at this third lap here by both those teams. You got to be really tough mentally now to finish this race off. And Bob Barber, the sprinter from Hinsdale, looks like he's got it.
Barber hanging on. It looks like he's going to get it. In second place, Fenwick.
Wow.
And Palatine Fremd third. Your state champion, Hinsdale Central High School, with a very, very strong 3:09.21. That's beautiful. Hinsdale Central improved their time almost 2 seconds. They had to in order to win here today.
You know, and I don't think if they had been faster, Fenwick would have been faster.
Yeah.
Fenwick just swam right through them. They were racing each other. They're old rivals. They want to win that last race. Relay races are just so exciting to see. They're fabulous to watch. It's a team event.
Quite a performance. Quite a performance by Hinsdale Central. Let's see. They got in difficulty early, Fenwick did, but then they came back strong.
You can see Ed Pierce gaining here at the end. He comes off, boy, he has fabulous turns. He comes off and he pulls within a half a body length, and then Bob Barber from Hinsdale, the sprinter, who did so well the 50 and 100, just holds him off. Holds his breath there, takes a breath there, and then no more breaths. Good finish, half a length, celebration.
Well, it's quite a performance for that young man. And so we'll see the swimmers now as they get their medals. And our awards presenter is Bob Naughton, the athletic director right here at New Trier High School, host for this IHSA Boys State Final, swimming and diving meet. They've had so many great meets here and state championships held here. So Bob Naughton, very fittingly, will handle those honors here today.
Finishing in 6th place.
Well,
in the
it's such a great place to have a state meet. The deck space is adequate for the 680 swimmers. The balcony space is adequate for the parents, although there's people that are begging for tickets to get in every year.
That's
but it's a beautiful facility.
Indeed it is. Naperville North. They finished 6th. Their team put together a 3:16.36, about 2 seconds off of what they did in the preliminaries. But swimming from an outside lane, of course, that is a factor. That is definitely a factor. You cannot underemphasize. That's why I was so impressed with Palatine Frem today.
Finishing in 5th place with a time of 3 minutes 14.15, Downers Grove South.
They did a great job. They sliced their time by over a second, did Downers Grove South. So they finish in 5th place. We congratulate them for a very nice job, and again swimming in an outside lane. And as we start to move inside, the times start to decrease. Downers Grove South getting their medals. Well, that's a great thing. You know, I competed in the IHSA in individual speech. A lot of people don't remember, but the IHSA is not only involved in athletics, but also in music, speech, and many other things.
Yeah.
I competed here in Illinois in individual speech and music, and I have several medals from that. And believe me, they are very, very precious for anybody who's ever received one or won one. Loyola Academy, they finished 4th. They were the 3rd seed going in.
Peter Juris, John Haas, who had just recovering from mono, had 104 temperature last week at this time. So he's really done a great job. Craig Maurer is also part of that relay. And Gopal, great job.
Friend High School with Jeff Tuttle, a junior, Tyler Holcomb, just a freshman, Chris Wolven, a senior, Man Vidantonio, a senior for Palatine Fremd, and they did an outstanding job. They improved their time by 3 full seconds.
Is that right?
Over the preliminaries.
Wow.
Yep, down to 3:10. They ran a 3:13. That was incredible. 3 2/100 seconds to be precise. Palatine Fremd High School. This is a wonderful day.
Finishing in 2nd place with a time of 3 minutes 9.70, Fenwick.
And Fenwick, it's a great day for them. Of course, they have the state title as a team, and their main concern is, I think you mentioned at the outset, they were walking a little on eggs in the sense that they were playing a little close to the vest just to make sure there wasn't any possibility of any difficulty. And yet they still ran an excellent race.
Yeah, great race. Tim Dragas, Jeff Wetterfriend, Brian Pendergast, and Ed Pierce finished it off beautifully. Really made it exciting for their fans, for us, for all the spectators. What a race.
I don't know if Ed Pierce will be able to get his medal. He may be out selling popcorn now that this is over. He's done everything else today.
Relay team champions.
He's had quite a meet.
At the time of 3 minutes 9.21, Hinsdale Central.
Less than 3 seconds off of the state record held by St. Charles. That great 1985 St. Charles team. Hinsdale Central wins it today. They were the 2nd seed. But boy, did they have it today when they needed it. Eric DeRay, Julius Kablinskas, Steve Kula, and James Watson make up the Hinsdale Central team. 400-yard freestyle, they were the best today. Boy, what a performance. Here's how they finish now. Fenwick is the state champion. Hinsdale Central, right behind them, Naperville North, Loyola, and Downers Grove South. Those are the front 5, and let's go for the presentation of the medals.
3rd place will go to the Huskies of Naperville North.
Their head coach is George Klum.
George does a fabulous job. I am so impressed with what he does year after year after year.
Bruce Cameron.
Naperville North takes 3rd place. They were impressive, over 100 points. So our congratulations to them.
Now please meet the head coach of the Huskies, Coach George Klum. Would you please step forward?
George and his assistants Lou Caston and Steve Mazzarella. Team captains Mark Bontrager. We saw him. Boy, what a race he ran earlier today. Scott Ramsbottom and Rob Shaw. And there's a look at George Klum. And you're right, he's done a great job at Naperville North. And indeed, he gets a medal.
Well, the rest of
it's one of those teams that doesn't have a whole bunch of stars, but they're just so consistent, kid after kid after kid. A real team.
Well, and that's what coaching is all about, getting the maximum out of what you have, isn't it? And certainly if that's true.
Coaching at this level to be swimming is an individual sport. The good coaches make it a team sport where everybody's involved. It doesn't revolve around one star. And that's what George has been able to do year after year.
Well, very, very happy moment for the Huskies of Naperville North. They had some outstanding performances
meet the second place
here today.
Team. Red Devils of Hinsdale Central, who scored 151 points.
Tom Schweer, again, another fellow does it year after year. 5th place last year, as I said earlier in the day, but the Red Devils had them swimming fabulously last night, and there's a lot of coaches and fans who feel that the state meet is really won the night before. Getting the people in the finals is what it's all about.
His assistants are
Leif Erickson,
Robin Walker, Leif Erickson. How in the heck can you go wrong if you have Leif Erickson on your team?
He's a fabulous diving coach. He's been around forever.
You cannot go wrong with that. Rudy Roca. Those are the assistants.
Would you please meet
team
the head
captains
coach,
Carl Schweitz, Eric Duray, and Todd Hamilton. Tom Schweer is going to come up here. Great moment for him. You know, he was talking beforehand, hey, I don't know if we can win it or not, but I heard him downstairs saying earlier, we're going to give it a shot. We think we have a shot.
Any coach worth his salt with a team like Tom's doesn't come in here saying we're going for second place.
Yeah, you got it. And that was not the mentality that he took. He said, we got to get a few breaks, but we've got our shot.
Let the newspapers write the stories they want to do. They've got their job, but you never give up a shot at winning a state meet.
Indeed.
I've won a couple state championships with teams, and in 3 or 4 of those times, we weren't supposed to win. We'd listen to the papers, we wouldn't have.
Or broadcasters. Oops.
Yeah.
There it is.
It was before television.
Indeed. The state tourney. Great performance, second place.
Very great swimming. Tom calls them a bunch of no-name swimmers. I think they're not no-name swimmers now. They put their name on the map. And interestingly enough, that the only underclassmen that returned who won this meet or won an event is from Hinsdale.
High Schools Association state champion boys swimming are the Friars of Fenwick. Please meet the principal, Father Robert Bodoff.
They'll be celebrating in Oak Park tonight, I can tell you that. Fenwick winning the state crown. Their coach, James L. Caliendo, and he's done such a great job with them, assisted by Dave Perry and Larry Klepek, who's their diving coach.
And 2 seniors, really class kids, really led this team. Tim Dragas is a captain, and Ed Pierce is a captain as well.
Boy, and they have a great sophomore, of course, in Pendergast. They've got that great freshman on blue kite. They're loaded.
I wonder if they throw the principal in.
This is where we say it's handy to have an extra set of clothing around here because you're going to get dunked in this group.
I always felt that was bad luck, that bring an extra set of clothing.
Well, probably not a bad idea. It's either that or come away with pneumonia. And there it is. There it is.
See what they do with the trophy. Last year, they threw the trophy in.
Yeah, but gingerly. You don't want to bang that one up. That's the one that means success.
A lot of hard work goes into that. The boys can swim, practice 4 or 5 hours a day, some of them.
There you go.
Not to mention their weight program, which is fabulous. People are coming off the deck. Looks like they're kids are coming out of the balcony.
I saw a cannonball there just a few moments ago. They're going in every which way. It's a very, very happy moment for Fenwick. They piled up 182 points in winning today. That's an impressive team performance.
They won by 31 points.
They have so much depth, so much depth. There are a lot of, you know, we focused on 4 or 5 of their main swimmers, but even below those, they have competitive swimmers, even below those front 4 or 5. So they did a great, great job. And Bruce, I want to thank you as always. Certainly enjoyed working with you, and this was a lot of fun. Thank you for all your insight.
Boy, what an exciting meet we had today.